When you withdraw, a significant transformation occurs. It is not merely your absence that affects her, rather, it is the profound emptiness you create in your wake. The silence that follows the departure of a high-value man resonates more powerfully than any spoken words, prompting her to experience unexpected feelings. These emotions possess the potential to fundamentally alter her perception of you. In this discussion, we will explore the 8 intense emotions she encounters when you suddenly disappear. These are not transient reflections. Instead, they represent profound, life-changing insights that will lead her to view you in an entirely new light. Number 1. Deep shock. The initial sensation she experiences upon your disappearance is one of profound shock, a reaction that transcends the fleeting nature of typical surprise. This shock manifests as a deep, all-encompassing awareness that her life has unexpectedly shifted course. In that moment, the atmosphere around her feels dense, and the world seems unnaturally quiet. Your presence in her life was not merely a transient element. Whether she openly acknowledged it or not, it constituted a significant source of support, perhaps more than she ever comprehended. Consider the habitual exchanges she had come to rely on, the notifications lighting up her phone with your messages, the familiar sight of your name appearing in her alerts, and the eager anticipation of your next communication. In an instant, all of this vanishes, and it is the ensuing silence that impacts her the most. This silence signifies more than just a lack of sound. It represents a void in connection, a loss of validation, and the absence of someone who made her feel seen. Initially, she may rationalize the situation, convincing herself that you are simply preoccupied or that there is a valid explanation for your sudden absence. However, as time elapses, the harsh truth settles in. You have genuinely vanished, and she was ill-prepared for this reality. This realization is the first jolt that catches her off guard, as it dawns on her that your absence may not be a temporary state. This moment of shock establishes a framework for her emotional response, with the silence serving as a mirror that reflects the significance of your presence, even if she had previously failed to recognize it. The depth of the shock is profound, as it disrupts her sense of normalcy, rendering her world less stable and more uncertain. Although she may attempt to distract herself, the voids you once occupied become increasingly impossible to overlook. Each time her phone remains silent when she anticipated your message, and every moment that passes without you intensifies this shock. It is a lingering jolt that compels her to confront the reality of your absence, an absence she was not ready to face. Number 2. Doubt to choose. The pursuit of validation often leads to an even more disconcerting feeling, doubt. This marks the beginning of an emotional downward spiral for her. Your absence compels her to reevaluate everything, prompting her to question her decisions, the words she chose, and her behavior. She finds herself replaying every interaction in her mind, meticulously analyzing each word, gesture, and moment to discern where things may have gone awry. Did I inadvertently push him away? Was I too aloof? Did I say something inappropriate? These inquiries inundate her thoughts, not merely arriving in fleeting waves, but persisting, gnawing at her sense of security. Doubt possesses a formidable power, as it undermines her confidence. What once appeared certain now feels delicate and vulnerable. She begins to recognize all the minor adjustments she could have made. Perhaps she should have been more open, more willing to share her feelings, or more attuned to your needs. Each interaction transforms into a complex puzzle she strives to solve, yet the challenge lies in her lack of complete information. Your absence denies her the opportunity for clarification or understanding, deepening her uncertainty. At this juncture, she not only scrutinizes her actions but also reevaluates her comprehension of the relationship itself. Did she truly grasp the dynamics between the two of you? Was she genuinely as in control as she had believed? Doubt forces her to confront the unsettling possibility that she may not have understood you as well as she thought, a realization that is profoundly unsettling. Doubt thrives in the silence you maintain. The longer you remain distant, the more she questions herself, her actions, and even her grasp of reality. This internal turmoil begins to erode her sense of identity, and as doubt intensifies, so does her yearning to resolve the situation. However, without your presence to provide clarity or insight, she finds herself caught in a cycle of confusion, uncertain of her next steps or direction. Number 3. The feeling of rejection. Rejection is an intensely painful experience, and when you choose to withdraw, the impact of your absence is profoundly felt. It is not merely a coincidental occurrence, rather, it is a deliberate decision that she interprets as a direct rejection, regardless of the imperfections that may have existed in your relationship. The choice to leave resonates deeply, causing her to grapple with feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Unlike a relationship that fades gradually, your active departure prompts her to question her own worth, leading her to wonder why she was not deemed worthy of your commitment. This internal turmoil is exacerbated by the primal fear of being unloved and undervalued, which your silence amplifies. In the absence of your perspective, she is left to construct a narrative that highlights her perceived flaws, convincing herself that she was not deserving of your affection. However, the pain of rejection can also serve as a catalyst for action. It may inspire her to reach out, seeking to reconnect and demonstrate her worthiness. This drive to reclaim your attention reflects her determination to prove that she is capable of change and that the relationship can be revitalized. Thus, while rejection inflicts emotional pain, it simultaneously ignites a fierce motivation to rectify the situation and fight for what she believes she has lost. Number 4. Feeling guilty. Upon processing the rejection, she finds herself grappling with a complex emotion, guilt. This feeling compels her to assume responsibility for your absence, despite the fact that the circumstances were not entirely within her control. Guilt is a deceptive emotion, leading her to believe she had more influence over the situation than she truly did. She begins to reflect on her actions, questioning what she could have done differently, whether she could have offered more support or if her behavior inadvertently pushed you away. This consuming guilt prompts her to revisit every interaction and conversation, searching for signs or moments where she may have faltered. She wonders if something she said drove you away or if she appeared too distant or overly demanding. As the blame shifts increasingly onto herself, the burden of guilt becomes overwhelming. It transcends the mere loss of you and morphs into a profound sense of responsibility for your departure. The power of guilt lies in its ability to force her to confront her own actions. While she may have previously believed she acted correctly, your absence reveals the flaws in her behavior. She starts to identify instances where she could have been more open or where she may have let her defenses down too soon. Guilt casts a harsh light on these moments, refusing to relent, and it leads her to question not only the relationship but also her capacity to foster any future connections. This guilt also ignites a strong desire to make amends. She yearns to rectify the situation, to demonstrate that she has learned from her missteps, and to prove that she can improve. However, the reality remains that you are gone, intensifying her struggle with guilt, as she lacks an outlet for her feelings, a means to seek forgiveness, or a chance to clarify misunderstandings. Consequently, guilt gnaws at her, leaving her trapped in her emotions, unable to set things right, and the weight of this emotional burden only deepens with each passing day of your absence. Number 6. The fear of being replaced. The notion of being replaced evokes profound emotional turmoil, as the individual grapples with the unsettling realization that someone else may occupy her former position in your life. This fear, rooted in the instinctual desire to feel irreplaceable, intensifies when she contemplates the possibility of your moving on, whether with another romantic partner or through pursuits such as career advancements or personal independence. The absence of your presence leads her to question the significance of their past connection, fostering doubts about her worth and the authenticity of your bond. As she navigates this emotional landscape, she may resort to scrutinizing your social media for signs of new relationships or activities, each discovery reinforcing her anxiety that she has been supplanted. The pain of imagining you sharing moments of joy with someone else becomes a relentless source of distress, compelling her to confront her insecurities and the haunting questions of her adequacy. This overwhelming fear not only disrupts her sense of self, but also ignites a desperate urgency to reclaim your affection before the opportunity slips away entirely. Regret is an emotion that often emerges in the wake of loss, particularly when one fears being supplanted in a relationship. This fear intensifies her sense of regret as she reflects on the past, an era she can no longer alter. As the anxiety of replacement takes hold, she begins to wish she had approached the relationship differently, contemplating the words she could have chosen or the actions she might have taken to prevent your absence. This introspection compels her to scrutinize the relationship through a critical lens, fostering a desire to amend the narrative of their shared history. She may find herself yearning for greater openness, understanding, or presence during pivotal moments, with every minor misstep and missed opportunity becoming exaggerated in her mind. Thoughts such as "why didn't I recognize the signs?" or "why didn't I express my feelings when I had the chance?" plague her, robbing her of sleep. The pain of regret is compounded by the realization that these are irretrievable moments, and the accompanying helplessness deepens her sorrow. Additionally, regret evokes a profound sense of longing, as she begins to miss the nuances of your presence, your laughter, your attentive listening, and your unwavering support. The memories of your time together transform into bittersweet reflections, heavy with the weight of unrealized potential. She comes to understand the uniqueness of what you shared, and the prospect of never reclaiming that connection engulfs her in grief. Ultimately, regret isolates her. Despite her fervent desire to rewrite the past, she is acutely aware of its impossibility. Left alone with her thoughts, she finds herself ensnared in a relentless cycle of what-ifs and lost opportunities, rendering regret a confining prison from which she cannot escape. Thanks for watching this video. I hope this content was useful for you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.